She is completely unexplainable. You think she's a good girl, but once you get to know her, you realize she's everything. She's crazy, she's funny, she's honest, and you'll never know what she'll do next.
I can't believe it. I just got back from Cuba, you guys. You're not going to believe it. Everybody was telling me, are you sure you want to go to Cuba? It's a communist country. People were saying, why would you go to Cuba? People were saying, oh, well, I was there when it was legal. Let's see, what else did I hear? It was just like complete ridiculousness, really, because it made me start thinking, like, what is all the drama about? Why is everybody afraid to go to Cuba? And I have to just reference the fact that I'm wearing earphones right now because I can totally hear what's going on in here. It's like there's a lot of stuff going on that I can hear right now that I never really listened to without the headphones. But it's like I told Ben, like this is a whole nother show. This is my view that I like. Straight on. This is my view. So like I told Ben, maybe this is the way it's going to be now. We're not going to have any more guests because I don't want to be looking over there at anybody. I don't think I look good from the side. I think that my view is the front. But anyway. All right. So as I was saying, my friend Robert came into town, and I've known him since we met in Panama 11 years ago. And he always would keep in touch with me and let me know when he was in. He's in the finance market, so he comes to Miami a lot to speak at events. And so he invited me the night that he got in. He invited me at 10 o'clock in Miami, which anybody who knows me knows I'm not a night owl. 10 o'clock is late for me, and I was like thinking I'm going to take the Bright Line train and be there at 10, but then there's not a Bright Line train coming back after 11:30 at night. So I'm like, that's not really a lot of time to eat dinner. But he's like, well, I'm getting in at 8 o'clock. I'm not getting in until 8, and I want to see you the first night that I'm there. And then he said, I said, I think you have nights planned without me the rest of the time you're there. So I just get like the sliver of time the first night. And he said, oh, no, I want you to come to dinner with me every night I'm there. And on Saturday, I'm going to go to Cuba if you want to go to Cuba. Well, joke was on him because I said, at first my answer was, I am not going to go to Cuba. But then as I was saying that, I don't know, something flipped in my mind and I thought, why don't I go to Cuba? Why not? I was thinking about what I did last week, and like nothing that would change time if I leave on Saturday and come back on Monday to go to Cuba. So I said I would. And then the joke was, as we were gone, I said, I was surprised you didn't ghost me after that, after I told you I was going to go to Cuba. And he said, well, for about 72 hours after you accepted, I was considering it, which was a joke. But anyway, so he told me that his friend Octavio was coming with us, and I said, well, that's just fine, but I said I'm gonna need to have my own bedroom. And so he said, so I checked the price of the plane tickets. I said, how much is it now for the Airbnb where we're gonna stay? Which I didn't even know it was an Airbnb, to be honest. At the time, I thought maybe we were gonna stay at a hotel. I didn't know, And he said, no, we got an Airbnb. He said, I'm gonna cover that. He said, I got 3 bedrooms for us. So anyway, I met his friend, Octavio Sandoval, who is also in the finance market, very smart, handsome, 35-year-old man. And so the 3 of us went, and we called ourselves the 3 Musketeers. And we got there the first time we got there was in the afternoon. And he had told us there's going to be 2 hours in immigration. And lo and behold, do you want to show that first picture, Ben? Lo and behold, we got there, and this is the way immigration looked. And I'm telling you, it was exhausting. I was sitting on my suitcase, so now my suitcase has a bend in it because I was sitting on it for it was probably like an hour and a half. And then my friend Robert walked around and found a VIP salon that he could, and this is the thing that you can't really do in Cuba, pay with credit cards there at all. But as a friend of mine on Facebook said, your friend must have been paying with an international credit card because it worked. I don't know if you can use U.S. credit cards over there. Do you think, Ben?
I'm not sure. I guess not.
Mostly you can't use cash. Okay, you can't use cash. And it was really weird because before I left to go over there, I had to pay for like my seat or something like that. My US credit card wouldn't even work in the American Airlines place as before I got on the plane. Like one of the guys had to pay $100 for me so I could get freaking on the plane.
But you can't use cash or only cash?
You can only use cash.
Oh, only
Did
cash.
I say it wrong?
Yeah, you said you can't use cash.
No,
I
you
was
can
like, okay,
only use cash.
Only cash.
Which joke was on us because we didn't bring enough cash for 2 days. But anyway, so this is the way it looked at first in the immigration in the airport. And then Robert walked around. He's like, I'm going to go see what else there is to do around here. There's got to be something else. I mean, Octavio was off looking. This is the joke too. We had all carried our bags. We all brought a carry-on bag, but Octavio had golf clubs that he had brought because he went to West Palm Beach as well. And so we had to freaking wait for his golf clubs. That's all we were waiting for in this immigration line was him to get his golf clubs. All right, 2 hours wait. But while we were waiting, Robert goes and finds this other salon. You see it? Yes. Okay. We go. He pays like $35 per person for us to go in and sit in this nice salon with chairs right in the airport. And what do you think they had? Rum. Rum is what they had everywhere. You can see here that I brought some rum home. This is going to be my daughter's birthday present. Her birthday was yesterday. I'm going to go see her for Thanksgiving tomorrow. Or tomorrow? No, today's. All right, it's Thursday. I'm going to go see her on Thanksgiving with some rum. But anyway, so as I was saying, we were in there and Robert said, no, I just ordered us water, so he paid $35 for us to get in there. Then we're just sitting there drinking water. We're waiting on Octavio to get his golf clubs. Finally, Octavio comes in there and he's like, well, look, you paid $35 to get in there. You got it. Well, let's get some rum too. We might as well drink some rum while we're in, so then after we got the golf clubs that we were waiting for so long, we went and sat down in there. We each did like a shot of rum. And then we went out into the outside in Cuba, and I was so astounded. The first thing that I noticed was the cars are all old. It's like walking through a movie of Grease. They're all amazingly like from back in time. Like this was after we got back from the immigration, and then the next thing we did was we saw our Airbnb. Do you have that picture?
Right here, yeah.
Okay, we had an awesome looking Airbnb. We walked. You see those huge doors, and it was like a mansion in the midst of all of these dilapidated looking houses. Was this gem? And we walked in, and then we found out. Well, there are more people. There are more people there. It's not just our Airbnb. There were people from Norway right upstairs. So the people from Norway got the upstairs. We got the downstairs, which was fine, and then we went out for the night. But the first thing that I was told about Cuba was I was sat on the airplane next to a woman and her daughter. And they said, oh, well, you know where you're going to want to go. You're going to want to go to the beaches because that's the big thing there. Everybody wants to go to the beaches because the beaches, I guess, are beautiful there. They told me about Guanaba, Veradero, Jibacoa, beautiful beaches. But when we decided what we were going to do the next day, I said, you know what? I live in Florida. I see beautiful beaches every day. I want to see the city. I want to see what's going on here. What is all the fuss about, all the emotions? It drew up so many emotions when I was telling people I was going to Cuba. Big question was, why? Why would you go to Cuba? Okay, so let's, Ben, you want to show the next picture?
The video, right?
Okay, let's show a video. Okay, so this is the first night we were there. This is the rooftop of a Parque Central, which the park was packed full of Cubans who were enjoying a concert. Every building there was very old. We were in a hotel there, Hotel Parque Central, I think it was the name, right upstairs on the roof. That's where we were. And then you also have a picture of me up there if you want to show that.
I'll get that ready right away.
But, and also the first thing that my friend told me was there's no racism here. He said, all colors and creeds are welcome. My friend Octavio is a black man, if you notice in the picture the first picture that I showed. And he said, all colors and creeds are welcome. And he said, it's refreshing to be at a country stuck in time, but more progressive than many countries in the world in terms of racism. And he kept saying, God bless Cuba. He loves Cuba. Okay, this is on the top of that Parque Central hotel where we were. And this is where I made the video right up there. You can see it was just packed. Everybody's having a good time. Still, people are messaging me on Facebook. What are you doing in Cuba? Why are you in Cuba? Why would you go to Cuba? Don't spend money in Cuba. Don't give your money to the communists. This is what I'm hearing. So I'm thinking, look, from what we could see the first day, it looked like maybe it's all perspective. Maybe it doesn't take so much to be happy as we think it does here in the United States. That's what we were thinking. So anyway, the perception is also that you can't vote in Cuba. That's what my friend Octavio told me. He said, you can't vote in Cuba. Well, here's the reality. The Cuban National Assembly was appointed, but it is a vote with no opponent. Okay? So they're voting, but there's no one they're voting against. You're not allowed to do a campaign. There's one candidate for each position in the National Assembly, but the problem is elections are not free or democratic. The government has ruled there since 1959. Cubans can vote, but they cannot choose. And this reminded me of the Seinfeld quote. If you saw that Seinfeld episode, we can take reservations, but we can't keep reservations. We don't hold reservations. And Jerry Seinfeld was like, well, why are you going to you're taking reservations, but you can't hold them? What good is that? You know, that reminded me of this. Like, you've got one guy to vote for. That's the Cuban government. One guy to vote for. That's the guy that's going to win. So basically, there's no choice. Okay. And so in 2021, they had the largest demonstration. It was actually called a peaceful protest since 1959. And people were actually sentenced to prison because for crazy stuff, like they smelled wrong, or there was a weird smell, or they called it odor traces. They had odor traces that they were following, or the guard said he did something wrong. So then they'd be held incommunicado. They couldn't leave home for days, weeks, or months. They were tortured and abused, and then they were harassed until they left the country, which... Now, this is my producer, Ben. Ben, you want to put your picture up there in the corner?
Of course.
So everybody can see you.
Hello, everybody.
Ben's last name is Castro.
It is.
Okay, Ben, do you want to tell us any significance of that?
Yeah, well, I'm Colombian, so I'm not Cuban, but growing up all throughout middle school, high school, whenever there would be a teacher and they'd say my name, Ben Castro, and I'd be like, yeah, and they're like, any relation to Fidel Castro? And I'm like, no relation to Fidel Castro at all. But yes, I believe, Castro, the name itself has a bad rap. I mean,
because of that,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. I also heard that people in Cuba that are living in Cuba also think they think highly of Castro. It's different. There's so many different ways, and so many different people see it in different. I have no idea. I just know I'm not Cuban.
Well, basically, that's kind of what I noticed was when I would ask people there how the government is. And of course, you have to talk to them in Spanish, right? I know Spanish because I lived in Panama for 10 years. So how's the government? Do you have any problem with the government? They're all mum's the word. It's kind of like you said. That's where I kind of thought perception is your reality because they don't know any different there.
Exactly.
Okay. So they all think it's not a problem, and my friend Octavio even told us a story that when I'm not sure if it was him or his friend, he was saying they saw a bunch of people there. He's only been there like 5 times, but he's just grown to love this country. Cuban country doesn't have any racism, as he said. But he said that when they saw these men on the beach doing push-ups, he or his friend offered them money, and they didn't accept it. they're a very proud people. Cuban are very proud people, and they don't expect handouts. Is that what you've heard, Ben?
Yeah, I've also heard that they're very proud, very prideful, very prideful. But I agree with you. Yeah, it's all about perception.
Right.
Definitely.
Exactly. And so with the government, there was a book called Prison or Exile, Cuba's Systematic Repression of July 2021 Demonstrators. That's where I got most of my information on the government and the things that they're going through right now. But because I've been studying it all morning just to see, looking for traces of why everyone here in America would be so negative and against and think that you still can't go over to Cuba, because you absolutely can. Okay? Cuba has never had a car manufacturing industry. However, in 1919, Cuba was the largest Latin American importer of U.S. cars and parts and had the highest number of vehicles per capita in the world. Okay, in 1919, the classic Ford Model T was everywhere and still is in the Cuban streets. They called it a fatingo, which means clunker or jalopy. Have you heard that word before?
I haven't heard that word.
They
I like
had
that.
those
That's
everywhere.
awesome.
I mean, it was crazy. Will you show that picture of all the cars that I had?
Yes, of course. It's
one of the days when we were out walking
beautiful.
around.
Look at those.
Look, this was it looks like Grease. It looks like the movie Grease. Like, it's like stepping back in time. All of the cars look like this. And as what my research told me this morning, that in 1959, there was the import embargo with Fidel Castro. There was an embargo, a ban on trade with the U.S. and foreign imports of cars and car parts, which means no American cars are coming to Cuba. Okay, so they might as well get those rust things cleaned up and repair them, and they had to use Chinese and Russian car parts to repair them. But look at them. They look brand new, don't they?
I was going to say, this picture right here is one of the most beautiful. I think this right here just looks with the clouds and that you can see. You took a really good picture here.
Well, I took that picture like 5 times.
Really?
I thought it was so beautiful. But that's one where you can see like kind of all the people.
And
all the cars. And it was just an amazing moment.
Very cool.
But all these cars just, and it's like I wasn't making a movie. They just all showed up right there as we're walking down the road. It was just crazy, but this is the way they live in Cuba. According to Wikipedia, the embargo prevents U.S. businesses and those organized under U.S. law to conduct trade with Cuban interests. Okay, and so that was, they couldn't have any sale of arms since March 14th of 1958. Again in 1969, except food and medicine after Cuba was nationalized. All right, so the problem was, I was like, why? Why is there this big problem why did the embargo happen? And it was in 1969 because Cuba nationalized the U.S.-owned oil refineries with no compensation. That's what happened. So since 1992, every year, the United Nations General Assembly has tried to put an end to this. But the U.S. and Israel, and just as of November 3rd this year, I found something that said they're keeping this embargo going because and the Cuban foreign minister, Bruno Rodriguez, just said blockade prevents Cuba from accessing food, fuel, and media tech, and medical equipment, okay? Cuba is going through the worst economic crisis in decades. The embargo's principal purpose is to force Cuba's regime of power to stop. That's the regime. So, I don't know. I mean, like, there were so many people suffering, though. I did see that. And I didn't make a movie one of the nights when we walked through the city streets because my friends were like, don't make a movie of this. It's like, it was suffering. We saw suffering, like people in the back alleys of streets living underneath like old buildings. It was really, really sad. Really sad. And but so then I'm thinking about it this morning, and I'm like, why would they be doing all this? Why would they want these people to suffer like that? And then does that make sense, Ben? That it would be because they want the government to stop, so they're just gonna like.
I don't know. It's to a point where there's things that sometimes you can't control, and so you're saying that them being out there is bringing more awareness of it in a sense?
Is that it? Is that what
that's kind of what is that what's
Well, I'm just sharing what I read.
Yeah.
In my research of this, and it's just so strange that the U.S. and Israel are keeping this going.
Yeah, that is very strange.
And so one of the women that I met on the airplane said that she was just visiting her mother, and she has to bring her medicine from Miami. And she lives in South Carolina, but she can't get the medicine in South Carolina because if she shows them in South Carolina that her mother needs this medicine and the prescription is written in Cuba, she's not going to get any medicine. They don't have the brand that she needs in South Carolina. So instead, she has to fly to Miami, get the medicine, and take it to her mom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and so the same thing with the woman and the daughter that I saw in my. So what I'm right in there, and I'm sitting with a mother and her daughter, and they want me to go to the beaches, and they're telling me nothing negative about Cuba, just that they're going to visit their family. You know, she has a husband and he's home. You know, and then I'm coming back, and I showed her one of the videos that you have of the streets. Do you remember that video?
See, I think I pulled it up. Let me see.
Yeah.
The one of the streets, the Havana, Cuba streets. Yeah, let me show you. I'll show you that.
I showed her this video because remember, my friends wouldn't let me make a video of the city, people living underneath buildings, but this was what I saw on my way back to the airport, just the streets, you know, and this woman said, "Yeah, but those are mansions." I put it on Facebook. Someone said, "Oh, that looks like what it looks like in California, some places in California." Yeah, but these are mansions. This is where the best of the best live in Cuba, right?
Wow. All those gates and everything. Every building has a gate.
I mean, pretty much the whole country, what I saw, I was only in Havana, but pretty much what I saw was just dilapidated everything. Everything was dilapidated. I didn't see, except you can show that nice hotel. This is the nicest hotel that we found there, the Hotel Malia.
Hotel Malia, right?
Yeah.
That's that really pretty.
So either you've got your visitors are coming to town and staying at this super awesome hotel that's got waterfalls and a cigar bar that we went to, and my friend spent like $400 or $500 on
this
cigars.
One, right?
Yeah, this is the hotel. We went out. I mean, inside was just as incredible. This has got to be the best hotel there. We decided. Waterfalls inside, and you can use a credit card there. But as a friend of mine told me, it must have been a British credit card, which it was. And the reason why this was so prevalent was because we had all run out of cash. We had all used up all of our cash. And so my friend Robert's like, well, if we go back to the Hotel Malia, we can probably get something to eat for lunch before we leave. And because he said, I've got this British credit card. So he's got a British credit card, so we could use that. And then I became they called me the MVP because I had $100 left, but it was a $100 bill. So we had to change it. And when we were on our way to the Hotel Malia that day, and they said, well, you're going to give your $100 bill to the taxi driver because he's going to go make change. And I said, well, do we trust this taxi driver?
That's the first thing I would say.
I know. Well, they said that took me down from MVP to MVP because I was from the most valuable player to the minimum value player, I think, because they couldn't believe that I wouldn't trust their driver. And I was like, well, look where we are. And they said, well, this driver was recommended by the landlord of the last place where we were. And she was just a beautiful landlord woman. And the first place we'd stayed in 2 Airbnbs, $100 a night. Okay. And very nice places, $100 a night, very nice places. The first one, the only problem was there were people upstairs, but there was like a maid making us breakfast. And the second one was a condo. So the first one was a house. The second one was a condo. And it was on the top floor. And did you show that video yet? I can't remember.
No, it's okay. This one,
I've seen so many.
This one was really pretty. I think I'm excited to show this one. This one right here. Oh.
Yes. This is the second place we stayed, okay? So they were like, don't worry, we're going to change. There was a mix-up in the Airbnb, but we're going to stay someplace better. And from the outside, it did not look like anything, trust me. We pulled up, and I was like, still not sure. But, hey, it's right by the water. We had a beautiful water view. And this one had, we had to pay $10 per person extra to get breakfast the next morning. They came and made us breakfast, a full table of breakfast, which I'll show that picture too pretty soon.
And you mentioned the cigar bar, right?
Yeah.
I got to show one of that picture.
All right.
I want to show that
was
one.
In the Hotel Malia again.
Oh, that was that was in the hotel.
Yeah.
Oh, let me show that.
So
then.
the first day when we got there, we went straight to the hotel because this is my friend Octavio's favorite place to smoke cigars. And so we went in there. Like I said, he spent $400 or $500. We got to know everybody in there. No Wi-Fi. Okay, that's another thing. There's no Wi-Fi. It's really hard to get Wi-Fi there, which is why both of the places we stayed, Octavio made sure that we had Wi-Fi, working Wi-Fi, because like I said, he's been there 5 times. He knows that that's a big thing there. And I in my research, I realized I think that that's the whole government thing for the Cubans to not know what's going on in the world. They can't access Wi-Fi. It's very difficult. So
yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, if they can control all of that, they can control what they're thinking.
And
right?
we checked what it was to stay at the Hotel Malia. So instead of $100, which you stay in the nice places we stayed with the Airbnb, it's $450 for 1 bedroom to stay there a night. Okay,
wow.
That's another thing I wanted to share was the difference in the prices of things. New car import. Okay, this is what it costs to get a new car into the city. A Peugeot 508 retail price here in the States is $29,000. There, it costs $262,000. That's right. And an average citizen there only earns $20 a month, more or less. This is all according to Google, okay? For $25 or $30 an hour, you can get one of those nice old cars to drive you around. And it's really worth it from what I heard to get a tour of Havana Viejo, which is where we went that night when, but when you walk around in the old streets, you can see people living in the dregs of society underneath buildings and things. But also in the car, if you rent it for $25 or $30 an hour, you can get a tour through the tobacco growing regions in Pinar del Rio. Rental car companies, it's very hard to get a rental car there because you got to have these specific documents filled out and everything like that. Now, there are also amazing hiking trails, which I was only there for 2 days, so I didn't have time to see that. But I mean, my friend said it's only 90 miles from Miami. My research said 342 miles. Does that sound right, Ben?
342 miles?
Yeah. Does that sound right?
That's what Cuba...
That's what... I asked Google today. I said, how far is Cuba from Miami?
It's only.
That's
Yeah.
what it said. That's what it came back and said.
Let me look it up right now. I'll tell you
Yeah.
right now.
So,
Miami, you said, right?
yeah.
It's 264 miles.
Are you kidding me? I was like, oh my gosh, and it's on your way to Panama, which I've gone to Panama many times.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, it says the shortest distance airline between Miami and Cuba is 264 miles, but then the distance from Miami to Cuba is 330 miles.
Can you believe it's that close?
It's crazy. It's so close.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable.
That's like if I drove up. That's the same distance to Jacksonville from here to Jacksonville.
Right. Yeah.
Similar.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like an hour plane trip, maybe 45 minutes. But anyway, so my friend Octavio his impression was that they're not able to see news. But then when I talked to a lady that lives there, she says, "Oh yeah, we've got news, we've got Telemundo, you know." But I think, like I said, the government is blocking them from seeing what's going on in the world out there, you know. And so this is the thing. It's like I said again, it's perception, because if you don't know what you're missing, you don't think you're missing anything, right? I mean, the thing is, we are here in the United States, and we think that life in Cuba must be just so horrible, and they must be so unhappy and so sad and everything. And yeah, there are torturous things going on in places, and there are also here in the United States in places torturous things going on. But the thing is, if you don't know what you're missing, if you don't know you can have a brand new BMW or Mercedes and you instead just settle for one of those cars built in the 50s because that's what you got, that's all you've ever seen, then you think, hey, this is pretty nice. Look what I got. You know, they didn't. I mean, my friend has been there 5 different times, and his perception is that people there are very happy. So there you go. But like I said, people here in the United States are very emotional about it. So anyway.
I got a couple more pictures that I can show real quick.
Sure.
So I have this one. You know, we were talking about the.
Okay, this is something I wanted to share. So remember how my friend Octavio said there's no racism there. The funny thing is, we went to this Hotel Nacional de Cuba, which, like I said, everything there, it's like going back in time. Not a lot has changed. Okay. But so we go up to the gate, and they won't let my friend Octavio come in. He's a black man. And that's the first time that he noticed racism there, he said. My friend and I walked right around the guard and walked right in. And didn't have any problem. But that was the first time that Octavio was really upset that night, because that was the first time that he'd ever seen any kind of racism in Cuba.
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah. What other pictures do you have?
You had the picture. This was I love this picture. This is one of my favorite pictures, I think. It's with you guys all in the taxi.
Oh, yeah. That's all right. So that's the first night when we went home, or the second night. I don't know. They all ran together, but we needed a ride home. And so we got this. It's like a little motorcycle.
Yeah.
The lady driving it was driving a motorcycle. And that was commonplace. They had a bunch of these outside this place called the Floridita, which was a restaurant that we went to that we loved. And there was a great bartender there that spoke English named Abel. And he spoke to us. And I mean, like I said, from what we saw the first night, all these people look super happy, you know, like they don't know what they're missing. The second night, we did see the part of society in Cuba that is without, you know, and that, you know, could be because of the government. So anyway. Do you have any more questions, Ben, or anything?
One question. You were talking about that breakfast that you would have, right?
Didn't I show a picture of that? Did you see that yet?
We haven't talked about the breakfast. Was this the first night or the second day?
That was the last morning we were there.
This one right here?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it looks so
Look
good.
at it.
What is
$10 a person.
$10 a person?
We were like, one of my friends was saying, let's go to the Hotel Malia, and do this. But we got this for $10 a person. I mean, eggs, fruit,
What's
guava.
the juice? Is that guava juice? Yeah, I want to
And
know
this
the
was
juice.
better than the first night. We got guava juice here, and we got guava juice at the first place. And this was much better.
Okay.
My friend at the first place said, hey, how's that juice? And I said, good. And then he drank it and he goes, and I said, wasn't that good, was it? It's kind of tasteless, right? And he goes, yeah, why didn't you tell me that? Why didn't you tell me that? I said, I like everything, like it almost seemed very positive to me, What are you going to do? What are you going to say?
So, all right, my last question for you, Tracy, is being that you've gone to Cuba and everybody's saying all these things, what are your final thoughts on it? Like, what would you say? Would you go back? I know we kind of talked about all the things that you've saw, but now what's your final thoughts? Give me a final rundown of Cuba.
Well, my final impression is not to return.
Oh,
to be honest with you.
Wow.
That's my final impression. But if I were going to go back, I'd sure want to be staying at the Hotel Malia. But I mean, like it was, even though we were staying at super nice places, like the one night there was no bedding. Like we only had a sheet. Like each of us only had a sheet in our bedroom. And I was out walking around in the place looking for the sheets and stuff like that. And I was freezing cold. I finally just got all dressed up in my bed. I'm laying in my bed all dressed up.
Fully clothed.
And I had my sweater on and everything. And then Octavio came out the next morning and he said, well, you guys went to bed before me. He brought out this bag of like bedding. I'm like, yeah, the landlady was really nice, but she doesn't have it all figured out because she didn't give us bedding. And then it turned out, well, yeah, it was in some bag, a random plastic bag in the
and you make your and you have to make your own bed?
Well, I guess it had a sheet on it. I mean, that was fine, but I don't know if I should have spoken. I don't lie. I usually say what I feel. So that's why I'm saying. I mean, there are places that I would want to visit before Cuba again. But Cuba was good to see, Although, if I were going to go back, I'd sure want to be staying at the Hotel Malia for $450 a night, But I'm not going to lie, because they've got it made over there, it looks like. But, I mean, and this also brings us to my blog.
Wait, we have a blog for this one? Is it
Blog time? Blog time. Okay, so this is a blog that I wrote. I wrote a few blogs on this subject, and it is traveling is only as good as the people you're traveling with. Now, I was in Cuba for just 2.5 days, and I'd have to say it was a pretty long 2.5 days. We all felt like we'd been there for a long time. But I was with some great friends, and they were funny, and they kept me laughing. Aside from the prejudice incident that happened to Octavio that one afternoon, it was a great trip. I had a great trip with my friends, and would I want to go back again? I think there are places I'd rather visit, but it's good to know what's going on in the world, right, Ben?
I couldn't agree more.
Right.
I think you're completely right with that, and I think though. Look at you. You got up and you went. Like, I think that's the biggest thing is you got up. You just got back from where? Did you just get back from?
Transylvania. Did you see that podcast?
You better go check it out. You haven't seen it yet. But and now you're going to Cuba? Where's next? Where's Tracy going next?
I don't know, Ben. I told my friends, I said, I told my friend Robert, I said, I told my producer Ben that I just, these things are coming up. Just, it's amazing how these things are coming up. And he said, yeah, Tracy, it's just because you're putting it out there. That's why it's happening. So anyway, we'll see what I manifest next. But anyway, so this blog that I didn't write, and I didn't even find it in my blogs. I think I wrote it, but it was many years ago, like maybe 8 or 7, maybe less than that. But I was gonna spend Thanksgiving with my dad, and it just seemed like I'm always, what am I gonna Thanksgiving in Colombia with my dad, like. Maybe there's another alternative, someplace I should go to. I was thinking something more exciting. And so then my girlfriend invited me to New York City. And she had once been Mrs. Florida. And so I was thinking, we'd lost touch, but I did the same thing I just did. I took her up on it. I went to Florida, or I went to New York. And what happened on this trip was, the first thing that happened was I stopped and went to her boyfriend is a very affluential doctor there, president of a hospital. And I went in and it was like right there for Thanksgiving, right? It was the same time of the year. And went in there, met him, saw his boys, everything like this. And I can't remember. He made some kind of a comment to me like I was looking really good or something like that. So I don't know if that had something to do with it. But after that, I went back to the hotel, which she had offered to get me a hotel room there because she knew the person who owned this hotel. So we got a hotel, and it was super nice. And after that, after I checked into the hotel, I found out her kids were coming too. So she didn't know they were planning on coming. I think I was kind of the backup, if her kids didn't show up. And so with that, I don't even know if I had dinner with her that first night. Like, she just ghosted me. She ghosted me in New York City for Thanksgiving that year. And luckily, my sister lives in Larchmont, and there's the Macy's Day Parade. So I went and enjoyed the Macy's Day Parade all by myself. I went and enjoyed my family in Larchmont. Thank goodness for my family there. And it was a great trip. But I could have spent Thanksgiving with my father in Columbia. That was a lesson. And instead, I spent it pretty much alone, except for Thanksgiving, where I got to spend it with my family. So with that, and with a couple of other blogs that I've written right around the same time, Thanksgiving time, I've come to the same conclusion. Traveling is only as good as the person you're traveling with. Would you agree, Ben?
Couldn't agree more. That is such a good advice. I recently took a trip to Washington State, and I had the best time. I was with a really good person, and then I actually went on my own, and that was very nice. So if you can do it by yourself.
You prefer traveling on your own?
The one time that I did do it, I really enjoyed it. So I've never done it. Like, that was the first time I actually took a travel, and like I drove to Washington by myself, and like I did all that. It was a lot of fun.
Was it a holiday?
It was not a holiday.
Well, I don't know. I'm just thinking, for me, traveling is about the people I'm with.
Yeah.
And enjoying the people I'm with. And anyway, but right now I don't want to get too late because we're running out of time for
the Real Estate Minute.
Yeah. Okay, well, even though I'm talking about Cuba today, I want to answer this question that I asked Google today, which is, are Florida house prices dropping? Do you want to put back up my graph there, please, so that my viewers can see it? This is the answer that Google gave me. Let's take a look at the latest housing market trends in Florida as of September 2023. Home prices in Florida have not shown a significant drop. In fact, the statewide median price for both single-family homes and condo townhouse units have demonstrated stability and, in some cases, moderate growth. So that's pertaining to Google. So I'm telling you, it's a great time to be buying, especially here in Florida. You're always going to make money when you're investing in Florida. So that's what I have found. That's what my clients have found, and hopefully that's what you're going to find too. Anyway, please send or leave me a message to the Keller Williams here. And my number is 561-245-4000. please, I'm not going to be able to take your call right there, right now, but just leave me a message. Let me know what you're looking for. If you want residential, commercial, I've got partners all over the world with Keller Williams that can help you to find your perfect property to buy, sell, or invest. And also, please subscribe to this podcast. Give me some kind of love. Like it. Post underneath it. Share it. If you can think of someone that wants to know what's going on in Cuba, please share it with them. And post underneath if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. Or if there's some other wonderful destination that you want me to visit, maybe I can get that on the schedule. We'll see. I don't know if I'm traveling anymore this year. I didn't think I was going to Cuba. But you just never know what's going to come up when you're being Tracy. Right, Ben?
Yep, you got it. I love it. Being
Yay!
Tracy.
Well, I can't be anybody else.
That is true. That is true.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming.